The ward that wasn't empty. The Urbex community has a rule nobody talks about out loud. If a place feels wrong the moment you walk in, not spooky wrong, not Halloween wrong, but wrong, like your body knows something your brain hasn't caught up to yet, you leave. You don't investigate. You don't film it. You don't post it. You just leave. I didn't leave. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I've been doing urban exploration for 6 years. Abandoned factories, flooded subway tunnels, decommissioned military bunkers. I've been in places that would make most people's skin crawl, and I've always walked out fine. Always had good footage, always slept well after. So when my friend Marcus told me about Hargrove Psychiatric Institute, shut down in 1987, sitting on 40 acres of state-owned land outside the city, completely untouched, I didn't feel fear. I felt excited. That was my first mistake. We went on a Thursday. Marcus, me, and a girl named Priya who'd done maybe 3 Urbex trips before this one. We parked half a mile down the access road and walked in through a gap in the chain-link fence. Standard stuff. The main building came into view around a bend in the path, and I remember thinking, it's beautiful in that broken way. 5 stories, Gothic Revival architecture, ivy swallowing the east wing whole. The kind of place that looks like it was designed to look haunted even when it was functional. Marcus was already filming. Priya had her phone out. I had my main camera, a shoulder rig, and a secondary GoPro on my chest. The front doors were chained, but the chain had rusted through on one end. We pushed through into the main foyer. That's when I felt it. Not a sound, not a sight, just a shift, like the air pressure changed, like the building noticed us. I told myself it was the stillness. 37 years of silence in an enclosed space. That's all. I kept filming. The ground floor was standard decay. Peeling paint, overturned furniture, the occasional patient files scattered across the floor like someone had ransacked the place in a hurry. Priya kept picking things up, old intake forms, faded photographs, and I kept telling her not to touch anything. She laughed it off. Marcus found a nurse's station with a pegboard full of room keys, most of them still hanging in place, labeled with numbers in faded red marker. Room 14 was missing its key. I don't know why I noticed that. There were 100 keys on that board. But room 14's hook was empty, and the number was written differently from the others, darker, pressed harder into the label, like someone had gone over it twice. I filmed it, made a mental note, moved on. We found the stairwell at the end of the east corridor. The second floor was administrative, offices, filing rooms, a small chapel that still had pews bolted to the floor. The third floor was patient quarters. That's where the smell hit us. Not rot, not mold. Those smells I know. This was different. Something organic and warm, like the inside of a mouth. Like breath. Marcus said it was probably an animal. Raccoons, maybe a fox that got in and died somewhere in the walls. Priya had gone quiet by this point. She wasn't laughing anymore. I told myself Marcus was right. The patient rooms on the third floor were small, 6 feet by 8. Each one had a metal bed frame bolted to the floor and a single window with wire mesh embedded in the glass. Most of the doors were open, hanging off their hinges or missing entirely. The rooms were empty, all except one. Room 14. Its door was closed. Not jammed, not stuck. Closed. The handle was clean, no rust, no dust, like someone had touched it recently, like someone touched it often. I stood in front of it for a long time, long enough that Marcus walked up beside me and said quietly, "We don't have to go in." I put my hand on the handle. The handle was warm. I've tried to explain what I saw inside room 14 to people who weren't there, and I always fail. Not because it was indescribable, because it was almost nothing. That's what made it wrong. The room was empty. Bed frame, window, 4 walls. But on the far wall, just above the bed frame, there were scratch marks in the plaster. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all the same height, like they were made by someone lying on the bed and reaching up. Tally marks at first. I thought tally marks. But when I zoomed in with my camera, I saw they weren't tallies. They were words. The same word over and over, carved small and frantic and layered on top of each other until the plaster was nearly worn through. Still here. Priya made a sound behind me, small and involuntary, like she'd been hit. Marcus said we should go. I should have listened. I told them I needed 1 more minute. Just the room, just the footage. They waited in the hallway, and I stood there filming the wall. And that's when I heard it. From directly below me. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, heavy, moving in a straight line across the floor below. The second floor, the administrative level. The floor we had already cleared. We were the only people in the building. I stopped breathing. The footsteps stopped. Then, from directly below where I was standing, directly below, tracking my position exactly, they started again. I was out of room 14 in 2 seconds, grabbed Marcus by the arm, didn't explain, just moved, back down the corridor toward the stairwell. Priya was already ahead of us. She'd heard it too. We hit the stairwell door and I looked down through the gaps in the stairs. There was a figure on the landing below, still, facing the wall, head slightly bowed, in the clothes of a patient, thin cotton that faded institutional green, standing with its arms loose at its sides, not moving. I couldn't see its face. Marcus pulled me up the stairs, up, away from it, toward the 4th floor. We moved fast and silent, and the whole time I kept my camera pointed down through the stairwell gap, watching the landing below. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, facing the wall, waiting. We found a fire escape on the 4th floor. East wing, 3rd window from the end. The ladder was rusted, but it held. We went down the outside of the building in the dark, one at a time, and we did not look in the windows as we passed them. We hit the ground. We ran. We didn't stop until we were back at the car, and then we sat in the dark for a long time without speaking. Priya never came on another trip with us. She won't talk about it. Marcus still comes out sometimes, but he doesn't go into buildings anymore. He says he's fine with just exteriors now. He says this like it explains something. Here's the part I haven't told anyone. When I got home that night, I pulled the footage. All of it. The foyer, the corridors, the nurse's station with the pegboard, the 3rd floor, room 14 and its wall of words. And then I reviewed the stairwell footage. The part where I filmed down through the gaps while Marcus pulled me upward. The figure was there, facing the wall, just like I remembered. But in the footage, it was facing us. It had been facing us the entire time, head up, eyes open, watching us climb. It had never been looking at the wall at all. I don't post footage from Hargrove. I won't. Not because I'm protecting you from something scary, because I've watched that footage more times than I should have, trying to understand what I'm looking at. And every single time, the shape is a little closer to the camera than it was before.